So tell me, how did you and hip hop meet?
Oh man, ever since I was a kid, I'd have to say it probably was like 77, 78 maybe. That's when I heard the first time I ever heard somebody rap was about that time. I was probably like about 5, 6 years old. And I heard somebody rapping, or what I would consider rapping, in an early form, in an early stage. And it took me by surprise. And then shortly after that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was the beatboxing. It was for me. I was a beatbox. I started out being a beatbox because I couldn't break dance, so I had to find a clever thing to do in hip hop. I was so mesmerized by it, the early records and things of that nature. So I adapted into the culture and started beatboxing. Right around middle school, I kind of like.
Welcome to the Breaking the Silence podcast. I am your host, Arthur Nicky Nicole. Here I believe in winning together and creating a safe, supportive space for people to share their stories and start their healing journey. My passion is to help people confront hidden battles, embrace their truths, and take steps towards a more fulfilling life. Every episode is designed to break the silence on topics that often go unspoken, leading to conversations that uplift, inspire, and transform. Join me as we break the barriers and find strength through shared experiences, one story at a time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another powerful episode of Breaking the Silence. I am your host, Coach Nicky Nicole, and this is the space where I shine a light on incredible people who are doing great things and making a difference in the world. Together, we will uncover untold stories, break barriers, and challenge the norms to inspire change. Every episode will explore the journeys of individuals who have found their voices, overcome adversity, and are changing their lives through their passion, resilience, and purpose. From thought-provoking leaders to unsung heroes, I'll bring you the stories that need to be heard and the wisdom that can ignite transformation. So get ready to be inspired, to learn, and to join this movement as we break the silence on these issues that matter the most. It is time to hear the voices waiting to be heard. So let's dive into today's episode for season 6. Man, today's guest is very special to me. We have been knowing each other for quite some time now. We was actually introduced to each other by Miss Toy. He's one of the hottest producers out there. I'm telling y'all, he's one of the hottest producers. His name is J-Pad the Juggernaut. He is a super producer, musician, DJ, videographer, engineer, and artist from PA. Man, he is the bomb. And especially when it comes to tech savviness. Yes. So after his countdown, please welcome this amazing gentleman to the Breaking Silence platform. What's up, J-Pad?
Peace, peace. What's going on, Nikki? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Finally got you across the platform. I was like, you know what? I need to get J-Pad up here.
Well, I appreciate you having me on today. Love the
Thank you.
program.
Thank you. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself that I haven't already said about you.
Okay, well, I was born and raised in Erie, Pennsylvania. For those who don't know where that is, that's right off the Great Lake Erie. between Cleveland and Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? About 2 hours north of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And that's where I reside now, Pittsburgh. Shout out to everybody out there doing their thing everywhere, though, because I've been a lot of places.
Right, right. So tell me, how did you and hip hop meet?
Oh, man. Ever since I was a kid, I'd have to say it probably was like 77, 78, maybe. That's when I heard the first time I ever heard somebody rap was about that time. I was probably like about 5, 6 years old.
Right.
And I heard somebody rapping, or what I would consider rapping, in an early form, in an early stage. And it took me by surprise. And then shortly after that, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was the beatboxing. It was for me. I was a beatbox. I started out being a beatbox
Wow.
because I couldn't break dance, so I had to find a clever thing to do in hip hop. I was so mesmerized by it, the early records and things of that nature. So I adapted into the culture and started beatboxing. Right around middle school, I kind of like got kind of good at it. Um, Stayed a beatbox for a while till the breakdancing phase went out, and then really at the end of the day, I kind of like moved along and just started really getting into playing instruments a lot more. Started playing instruments real young though, like about third, fourth grade. Started playing the trombone.
Mm.
So that was one instrument that I had started even before hip hop started. So but that's a whole nother question, I guess.
Wow. Now you see, you telling your age. Now you talking about bebopping and breakdancing. Now you really telling your age. Those are the good old days, though, for real.
Yeah. Because beatbox was just an art form that I really gravitated to because the first time I heard the Fat Boys and I heard the Skinny Boys, people don't know that there was a Skinny Boys when there was a Fat Boys, but the Skinny Boys had a beatbox called the Human Jock Box, and he was like
Mm.
real popular in my city. And they brought them to Erie one time to do a show because they were really super like booming. And I got a chance to see that dude beatbox live. That was it for me. I was in
Wow.
middle school and I heard that and it was over.
Wow. Yeah, those are the good old days for real. So,
Right.
as a multi talented creator, being a musician, a DJ, a videographer, engineer, and an artist, how are you balancing all of these roles and how are they influencing, your process as a creator?
How am I balancing them the best way I can? That's all I can tell you. It's not easy when you got a lot of hats that you do wear. Some of them in my older, years with hip hop or my latter years, if you will, some of that stuff I have kind of like pushed off to the side a little bit. I don't do them nearly as much as I probably used to. You would have caught me about 15 years ago. I was doing all that every day, every single day, moving around. I mean, I had one of the only mobile studios in town. So it was like I had cornered the market a little bit with that because I got good at going to different people's cribs and achieving almost a similar to the identical sound. It's like a
Right,
training ground. And so it's like, I was able to do that and that helped. I know that helped a whole lot. That helped me get to that point where those things actually started coming to fruition and I was able to balance
right,
everything out because of all the activity that I had. So I said, you know what? This is part of me. This is part of me. This is part of me. You know what I'm saying? I compare it to like, having tentacles. Like if
right.
you have tentacles, you know what I'm saying? Like you got to have at least 8 of them. So, this tentacle responsible for this one for that. So I try to balance it the best that I can. Help is always appreciated. We ain't gonna be facetious in acting like you can just do it by yourself. You know.
Right.
So I try to team up with people like that, and it kind of like keeps the network going the right way, the way it's supposed to go.
Now you said something about a mobile studio. Tell me
Yeah.
about the mobile studio. Now, how did that actually work to have a mobile studio?
Okay. Like I had moved back to Pittsburgh. Like I took a quick break and moved to Erie for like 2 years. Came back in like 2007. And by that time, I'd already been experimenting with doing a mobile studio in Erie. And I said, you know what, this is a possibility. So when I got to Pittsburgh in 2007, I remember it like it was yesterday. I didn't even have no car. I just caught the bus downtown. I printed out a whole bunch of flyers from Kinko's, and I walked around the whole downtown and just gave people a flyer saying, hey, look, instead of you going to a studio, I'll bring the studio to your house. And so it was called Traveling Bear. It was called Traveling Bear. And Traveling Bear was kind of like a concept in my head.
Hmm.
It was a concept in my head that I said, you know what? I should be able to go around and do studio sessions and make beats on the spot and push all those agendas at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And really just like get a special clientele that didn't have to step on nobody's toes,
Right.
didn't have to do nothing like that. It was just something that I could create in my own lane, in my own way. And it worked. It lasted for about 8 years after that.
Hey, yeah. So why did you stop?
Well, it was because that the clientele got too large and the demand got too large for
Mhm.
one individual. I could not continue to keep doing it.
I
I
believe
just
that. I
put
believe.
effectively no. And then my gas and then my car was, the cars were screaming for vengeance. I probably ran through a few cars on that run,
Okay.
but it was what it was, and there was nowhere that I wouldn't go because it was funny because it started expanding out way outside of Pittsburgh. Like people calling me from places like your home state, South Carolina. I drove down there, didn't never
Whoa.
been to South Carolina in my life. Got a call, said, look, man, we ain't got a studio here that we can rely on. Can you come down and bring the mobile studio and have us, you know, feed you, keep, put you up, all this blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? I was like, cool. I went down there, built a whole nother network. Then the word started spreading further south and further this way and further that way. You know what I'm saying? And before you know it, I was going all the way up and down the East Coast.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you know what? Hey, it was good for the time, but you did 8 years, so that was good.
Oh, eight
Eight
years in
whole.
that mobile studio. Yes. It just got so to the point where it was so popular that I could no longer keep up with the regimen. So I had to get something stationary. And that's what I've been doing ever since then.
Wow. So let's talk about the two things that you have on the rise right now. You have this amazing sound box, and you also published a book. So tell me, why did you? Let's talk about the box first.
The
Why did you
sound box.
decide to create the sound box?
Well, I always said to myself once I reached a certain level that I wanted a product that kind of like was a signature product that represented who I was. I'm just a guy that likes to have fun making music. You know what I'm saying? I enjoy it tremendously. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted to make a product that kind of represented that. You know what I'm saying? And have it to the point where anybody that was interested in making beats, it doesn't matter if you're new to it or if you're a professional, you should be able to see some value in the sound box. I took some time out and designed the sounds that are in it. Did some tweakings and edits to like 808s and things of that nature that people can use in their beats. And I put it all in one like synthesizer engine, like a VST instrument. And yeah, just got it out there for the public. Anybody can try it out. It's on Mac and Windows. Just holler at me. It's on my website. You can definitely grab it.
Man, it's amazing too, y'all. I'm telling you, it's amazing. I had the pleasure of playing with it, and I'm still trying to play with it. But you know what? I ain't made that first beat yet, but I'm gonna make the first beat soon. Soon, I'm
It's
gonna
all
send you
good.
something.
Well, that's the whole purpose of the sound box. It's not necessarily to put no pressure on anybody. Do I consider it the Bentley of VST instruments? No, I don't. But it's something that you can have fun with, and it does represent me because I like to enjoy what I'm doing when I'm doing what I'm doing. So
Right.
yeah, it's literally just that simple, man. Try the sound box out because you want to have some fun with it. Don't look at it like it's gonna be contact or it's gonna be some big native instrument suite or something that's just tremendous that you can think of at these days and times. And it's not like that. It's just something to have fun with, and it represents who I am, a person that just has fun.
Boom. So let's talk about the book. So what made
Okay.
you publish the book? And tell us a little bit about it without telling us everything about it.
Okay. All right, a little bit about it. I just literally just said, you know what? I've been doing these like I had experimented with a YouTube series called Studio at Home. And I had it up on YouTube for a brief moment, and people did find it useful. But I said, you know what? There's got to be another way that I can reach people as well. So I ended up, learning how to write a little short book, and I wrote a book on what I consider the introduction to beat making. So it's called The Art of Beat Making. It's a really short book. It's not like a super long. It's more like, to me, it's like a guide than it is a book. It's like a guide with some of my own personal, suggestions on what I would do in these scenarios, in these situations. Ground level, what you need to get, all that's in the book.
Nice. I love it. Now I gotta go grab the book because I do want to know the art of beat making. So I might need to go grab that book. So
Definitely.
how has your work as an engineer shaped the way that you produce music?
My work as an engineer, you mean as a recording and mixing engineer? Um, it helps out tremendously because what it really does, and I think that it should resonate with everybody, is it trains your ear to sound. It
Mm,
trains your ear to sound and how things are coming through the speakers sonically, really puts your ears in perspective. And one of the really quick lessons that I learned by that is I started actually turning the music down when I was doing my mixing and my leveling and things of that nature, because I had to do some like ear research and find out that the louder that the music is, the less that we are actually able to tell what's coming through the speakers.
mhm.
So I started adapting the principle. Thank goodness I started like, some years back, you know what I'm saying? And that saved my ears down the long road as far as developing a clean sound and things of that nature. But one of the secrets that one great mixing engineer that I knew, he told me, you got to turn the music down, Pad. You got the music up too high. I mean, I had like two of those old school Renaissance speakers sitting right next to me, and I had the system cranked. So not only was I not sitting in the right space, I had it all hitting one side of my body
Mhm.
like a brute force, and I had to learn a valuable lesson. But once I started turning the music down, is when I started getting better as a mixing engineer. But it's sound overall. It's sound, and they do correlate, with each other. I think mixing is a thing that doesn't get enough credit and enough respect. Like really to have an ear in this day and age is critical. To have
Right.
an ear. Now I will say this too. There's people that have a sound that they've identified with and developed. And then there's other people that have sounds that they identify with and develop. You know what I'm saying? So what makes this one great and what makes this one great? Maybe it's their individuality. It's the way I would, kind of like associate that. You know what I'm saying? It's not
Mhm.
necessarily that this sound doesn't work or that sound doesn't work. Everybody has developed and identified with their own sound. You
Right.
pick and choose what you want to use, and I think everybody has a right to do such. But there's all kind of different types of flavors. There's people that mix a certain kind of way that I like their music sounding that way. Then there's other
Right.
people that do the same thing. So yeah, that's the way I look at that. Yeah.
So that leads me to my next, because you said something about staying relevant in the music industry now. So that leads me to my next two questions for you. What do you think is the most rewarding aspect of being a super producer in today's music industry? And how do you stay ahead of these trends that they have now while still trying to remain authentic in the process?
That's a great question. Well, the key to authenticity is the beat of your own drum. Like, regardless of what's going on out there, I think it benefits you to discipline yourself to lock into a sound that you want to perfect, that you want to create. It's good to hear what's going on around you, but spend a majority of your time focusing on a sound that you want to create. That's what I think makes, that part of it work and that part of it go. That's what works for me. That's how I keep ahead of the curve, is that I'm setting a trend and not, following one. Instead, unless I get a request, and that's where Custom Beat King came from, because like it didn't come from anything else. I never said I was a custom mixing king. I didn't say none of that. I custom beat because people asked me to make tracks that fit their records.
Right.
It's a difference, you know what I'm saying? And so, absolutely, all of that plays a big part in staying ahead of the curve, staying, a couple of steps ahead. Be forward thinking, though. I think that's the most important thing. Got to be forward thinking, because if you're not really thinking forward and thinking of what you can do down the road, you're probably never going to start.
Okay. I
And
agree.
and I'd suggest people get started.
Exactly. Let's get started.
Right.
So with this industry being so oversaturated and this fast changing industry, because it used to be vinyl, it used to be cassette tapes, it used to be CDs. We've been through a lot of ages when it comes down to music and
Well,
changes.
you know what though? I ain't gonna stop. I didn't mean to stop you. I would have to say though, the vinyl has been making a very strong resurgence in the last several years. So, as you write about that, you know what I'm saying. I would just wanted to put that little sidebar in. But go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah, you're right. Now, vinyl, I love vinyl. It's just something about how that pen hits the vinyl and skips to the next song that does it for me. It's rewarding. I'm thinking about going to buy one. Honestly, I bought my mom one maybe about 2-3 years ago because she still has records, so
Right
she
on.
loves to listen to it.
Oh
But
yeah, I would.
that's the
I
best
would.
creation out there.
Yeah, everybody should have a record player in their home, just for the mere fact that there's so many records that are out there that have music that people have never heard. And, what better way to spend your day but finding stuff that you never heard before, and appreciating it for what it is. It's art,
Right, I
and it should
agree.
be appreciated as such.
I agree. So, with that being said, how do you navigate within the music industry now with all of these different changes? Now we're in on the streaming days. Now it's just that easy to go to a computer and do what you need to do, and it's probably easier now. But how do you navigate now that things have shifted, and how do you think it's going to change in the future to come?
The way that it's all structured right now, I don't know how you can see an ends to a means with it, to be brutally honest with you. It's not really set up for success. It's set up for most people to dangle success in their face, and then all of a sudden, and I'm a victim of it too, because I have stuff on the platforms, but I feel like they definitely are dropping the ball with that, because there's so much more of a value to art, regardless of what people say it is or how it comes through. It's all art. You know what I mean? There's got to be a better value than what they placed on it. So I think that moving forward, because I really don't know the solid answer to that, Nikki, but I will say this: moving forward, I'm entertaining much more utilizing my .com to be the focal
Yes.
point of releasing my music, because it's to the point where I'm like, well, if there's a value to my music, I got to place the dollar value on it. I got
Yes.
to put the dollar value on it and say, this is how much it is, you know, nothing more, nothing less. If we want to consider these things to have a sense of value,
All right.
we want them to have a sense of value. We got to definitely do that. We got to start looking at avenues where we can, cut off all middlemen and just self-distribute through, mediums like your own website. Your
Yeah.
own website, you can distribute your own music. Most of these websites that are set up now, you can go right on. I use Bandzoogle. I go right on there. I can set my whole entire environment up for that, and just
Right.
sell the music exclusively on the website without having to go through, none of the DSPs or anything. Now, I will say this, and we all, as you know, on the lovely radio show, we always talk about getting your paperwork straight and making sure that you got your T's crossed and your I's dotted. It's really important to have that as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't short yourself on that, because that's really important. Have your music protected the right way, and only move with people that have the same credentials that you have.
Absolutely. You're paying for your website anyway, so you might as well bring the money back to that website. But
Yeah,
a lot
any
of
way you
people are just
can.
paying for
That's
websites.
That's all. And I hope when people see my website that they see an example of what they could do. Then, hey, if you can do it better than what I'm doing. But have it and do something with it. You know what I'm saying? Have it and do something. I mean, because from having sound kits to the sound box to music for you to listen to, interviews, everything is right there. You know, people
Mhm.
need to start realizing once you have a .com, you're like the rest of these .coms out here. Your .com is just as powerful as Facebook.com, as powerful as Instagram.com or X.com, any of them. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But you got to put yourself on the level playing field and get yourself a website. You can run your
Yes.
business through it. You can run your music through it. You can run anything you want through there. There was a point in time where I had my own clothing line and I had all kind of different types of merchandise with a logo on them. You can
Nice.
do that as well. I had it set up on my website. Now I'm more into, digital goods at this moment in time because I feel like that's the quickest thing that I can get to people, you
Hmm.
know. Like you join my fan club, you get a free copy of the book, things of that nature. I can do that through a website. Can't
Nice.
really effectively do that through the social media platforms like you can on the website. Develop a fan base, get an email list together, and start sending things to your exclusive people and building
Nice.
relationships like that. You know what I mean? So I'm starting to realize that's probably the way to go in the future.
That it is. It is, and then the crazy part, it took me this long to realize that my website is my baby. Like I should be doing everything for my website, but I'm here now. So that's where it's gonna be running from now. Subscribe to my
Exactly.
website instead of subscribe to YouTube. Join my
Righteous.
my email list.
Righteous. For sure.
Period.
Absolutely. And that's the way it should be done. If we're going to do things, let's do them as right as we possibly can. You ain't always going to do everything right. Let's just
Exactly.
get that out of the way. People will be like, oh man, boom, 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 boom. No, don't beat yourself when you do something wrong. Turn around, rebound, and get that shit together and get it right.
That's it. That's
That's
it.
it.
So, what advice would you give to any other producers or artists who want to, step out there and do their thing, but just not sure where to start or what to do? What advice would you give to them?
The first thing that I would say, and it goes over it in the book, but the first thing that I would do is start researching what type of producer you're going to be. You're going to be a producer that uses the computer strictly? Are you going to be the type of producer that wants to play a controller, like play keys? Are you going to be somebody that wants to play pads to do what you do? You want to chop samples? You identify what that is first. Identify what type of producer you're going to end up being, if you can. And if you do, that gives you a better direction of what kind of setup you need for success being that type of producer instead of whether it's the mouse, whether it's one of these, you know what I'm saying, like one of these MIDI controllers. It could be anything. It could be anything. Like you grab anything based off of what you want to be, and then my next thing would be go once you have the equipment, established. Make sure you watch any tutorial you can to set it all up correctly, and make sure you say for beginners, especially if you're brand new. But design your room to your liking, purpose it for what it's supposed to be for, and then the next step is to get familiar with a certain software or softwares that you want to use and practice, 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 practice. Because none of this happened for me, and I did not get as good as I did without practice.
I know that's right. That's
Yeah,
some great
tens of
advice.
thousands of hours go into this, and don't beat yourself up if it doesn't happen to you right away. You can get with somebody like me that does consultations, and I can show you how to get there a little bit quicker, and it'll probably take a lot of pressure off you. So, let's utilize the network to build up the net worth.
Nice. Exactly. I like that. Utilize the network to build the network. I like that. So this is my last question for you, JPad. This is
Hmm.
the out of the box question.
Okay.
If you could have a conversation with your future self, what would you say and why?
Uh, the only thing I probably could say is you've been reaching. You've been reaching and you've been climbing. When is it time for you to level?
Mm, I like that. I like that. So this
You
is what
know?
I like to call the 30 seconds of fame, the BTS 30 seconds of fame. So I'm gonna do your countdown. And after your countdown, you're gonna be on the platform by yourself. This is your time where you can talk about the sound box, the book, anything that you have going on in 2025 that's gonna get you to the next level that you want people to be aware of, and tell them how to follow your journey too. So after the countdown, the stage is yours. All right.
What's up, everybody? It's J-Pad, the Juggernaut, the Custom Beat King. CustomBeatKing.com is my website. Make sure you go there primarily, but you can catch me on Twitter. You can catch me on Facebook. You can catch me on LinkedIn. You can catch me on Kick. You can catch me on all kind of different platforms. Most importantly, my show, The Custom Beat Show, which is on YouTube and Twitch. And on Thursday nights, catch me on the lovely radio show with Miss Toy, Speak Low, and K Wise from the West Coast, 8 p.m. on Miss Toy's channel.
Boom. Thank you so much, JPad, for coming and support me and pulling up on me to see me. I was so excited. I was like, oh, I was
Hey,
so
where there's a will, there's a way.
exactly. We had such a great time sitting and talking. I learned so much that night just with the small conversation that we did have. I had learned a lot about my own brand. And so now I'm trying to do some things differently. So thank you for your advice, your insight, and all that good stuff. And thank you for still staying connected with me on this
Oh,
journey.
absolutely. Yeah, no doubt. And I will say this, for those who don't know Nikki, she's a great woman. She does what she does with professionalism. And definitely we were able to share and trade information that was both beneficial for both me and her. So I ain't gonna take all the credit for just instilling some information. You learn, you learn when you're in the process of learning. So big shout out to Nikki for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And we're gonna stay connected. So we in it to win it. So
Yes,
whatever you
indeed.
have going on your way, let me know and I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna let everybody know about it. I just be over there on your page just looking like, what else can I share? Let me share this. So
Yes,
yeah,
indeed.
is there anything you want me to do on my end? I got you.
I appreciate that. Thank you, and vice versa.
You're welcome. And thank you so much to everyone else out there that's tuning into this amazing episode with my friend J-Pad, one of the hottest producers out there. Y'all make sure y'all go grab that sound box and his book as well. His book is over here in the corner. Actually, y'all, it keeps flashing on the screen. So make sure y'all get his book and learn those steps that you need to take. So, as always, I hope that you have enjoyed this episode and thank you so much for joining me today as I highlight J-Pad as the man that wears many Kangos. Remember, the courage to share your truth is the first step toward healing. And every story we tell brings us closer to understanding, growth, and change. So if today's episode has resonated with you, share it with someone who needs it. And let's keep breaking the silence together. So until next time, stay strong, stay inspired, and speak your truth.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Incognita, and I'm here to tell you about an amazing podcast. It's Nikki Nicole's Breaking the Silence. I was honored to be a guest on this podcast, and I had such an amazing time. It felt like I was talking to a long lost friend. She's so dope and so sweet. So please support her. Go to her channel, subscribe, check out her videos, comment, just any way that you can support her. She's providing a platform for people to share their voice, share some love and some positive information. So definitely check that out. My episode will be airing in March, so I'll be sure to keep y'all posted on that. I'll post it on my page with a link when the time comes. But in the meantime, in between time, all the time, support my girl Nikki, Breaking the Silence podcast. I love y'all. God bless.
Thanks for watching another episode of Breaking the Silence. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Please like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.